Here For You Life Coaching. We're going to get into more of the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. And for the sake of this live and this discussion, or this teaching, we are going to refer to the superconscious as the divine or God, however you believe. We're not here to tell you what to believe or how to believe. But good morning, Jay. But we're going to, however, assign the divine to the superconscious. So when I say there is only the conscious, the subconscious, and superconscious, we are going to focus on that. Some people believe, and some scholars believe, that there is only the conscious and subconscious. Okay, but I believe in God, so I am going to assign the superconscious label to for divinity and everyone who believes like that. So in that category, we can assign Source, Jesus Christ, Allah, whatever spiritual beliefs you have, go there. Okay, so now let's get on with the discussion. Good morning, guys. Good morning, Zen. Good morning, Sasha. Good morning, Nada. Nada boy. Good morning. Okay, so we're going to start talking about this today. Okay, because there is no external savior. Nobody's coming through the clouds to save you. That does not happen. That will not happen. What saves you is within. What saves you is in here. Okay? There's no external savior. I know. People are waiting. Okay? They're waiting for their savior to come through the clouds riding a white horse, and it sounds nice and it sounds good. Okay? But unfortunately, when you dig a little deeper, when you actually go in and do research, you see that the kingdom is within. Everything is within, and you have to go within so that you don't go without. Okay? Now, what am I talking about? Well, Jesus Christ comes back in here. Krishna comes back in here. Gautama Buddha comes back in here. It's all according to what you believe. But God comes back in here because this is where the kingdom is. Okay, Jesus Christ was the last one to teach us that. Okay, other people, many people have taught us that. Jesus was the last one. So now, what does that involve? That involves your conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. Now the superconscious, we're going to assign to your higher power, whoever, whatever that is. Okay, so we're just going to call it that. Now, with your subconscious, can you change bad programming? People ask me that all the time. Good morning, Costas. Welcome from Greece. So we're on 7 platforms from Hawaii. Now, let's continue. So the subconscious, right? The subconscious is where your programs are installed. Okay, so the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. Your conscious mind, think of it like your operating system. It is also the gatekeeper. Okay, so your conscious mind can refuse a thought. Okay, are you getting a bad thought? You're starting to think about bad stuff that's going to make you feel bad? Because first comes the thought, then the emotion assigned to the thought. Okay, so emotional intelligence suggests that we control emotion, right? Because it can get carried away. So how do you control emotion? You control the thought. Now you can dismiss thoughts. When you're thinking a bad thought, you can say stop. And the bad thought will cease. Okay. Now, if you're, one of those people who are highly emotional, some men are highly emotional. I hate to say it, but some men are highly emotional. And if this happens, if you're one of those men, just know that you can stop it. Okay? It's not unusual for men to be highly emotional. We're not talking about crying necessarily. Okay? We're talking about triggers of all types. So emotions, anger. Okay? We're talking about emotions. On the positive side, joy, passion, excitement. Okay, those things. So if you're a highly emotional person, what happens? Well, if you're a highly emotional person, You let your thoughts get away from you. If you're a highly emotional person, when you think the thoughts and the feelings come, the emotion follows the thought. Now you engage or you join with the emotion. What happens when you say stop? When you say stop, you stop the thought in the first place and you switch. Okay, now a good technique is to use a visual, because when you use a visual, it's easier to switch focus. Now the subconscious reacts on two things the most. Okay? Visuals, audio. Those two things. And out of all of those things, or those two things, okay, you are the most highly recognizable visually, and audibly, you are the most recognizable to your subconscious because you live with you. You're in here. The kingdom is in here. So how do you do that? Well, stand in front of a mirror. Speak affirmations in front of your mirror. Speak affirmations to yourself. Face yourself. Look into your eyes. The kingdom is in here. Whatever you call this, if you call this a spirit, if you call this energy, a soul, whatever you want to call it, that's what you need to face. Now, most people can't do it because they feel ridiculous, right? Oh, that's silly. I'm standing here talking to myself in the mirror. I must be crazy, right? Wrong. It's your subconscious. Your subconscious will allow you to correct your path in life. Okay, so people look at me at this chapter in life and they go, wow, Junior, you own all these companies, you do all these things. You can put my name in any browser, go ahead, and just, ask it questions. So people ask me that. They go, how did you do this? How did you do that? What's the secret of doing this, doing that, and the other thing? The secret is you're a human being. The gift is you're a human being. The blessing is you're a human being. The miracle is you're a human being. You could have been anything. You could have been a mouse. You could have been an elephant. You could have been a tiger or a dog or a cat or a horse, but you're a human being. If you're watching me, I don't think any horses are watching me. Although that wouldn't be too bad because I love horses. I had one for 11 years. But people ask me, like, how do you manifest these things? So you could say manifest if you want, or you can call it goal setting. Okay, I coach high performance professionals. And the reason they're called high performance professionals is because they're responsible for a lot of people. I'm talking about CEOs, doctors, attorneys, people like that. Those are the people that I coach. It was really funny. Last week, I have a brand new doctor. And I was asking him, 2 weeks ago, I was asking him if he had felt what I was trying to describe to him after the 4th session. And he goes, I don't know. I feel different, but I don't know how to describe this. So what was happening is the good doctor was, you ever see those people at the red light like this, waiting for the green light? They're like this. They're like machines. They've been programmed. And not only that, but in society, when pressure is applied, when prices go too high and you can't afford this or you can't afford that, what do you have to do? You have to take on a second job and then a 3rd job. I'm speaking to you from Hawaii. And in Hawaii, many people have 3 jobs. because it's very expensive to live here. So when the pressure is on like that, or when you're a high performance professional, the reason I'm telling you this is because you get this for free. The professionals pay me a lot of money. But let's say that you're a high performance professional, or you're the everyday guy with 3 jobs and a lot of pressure on you. Your job's giving you pressure, your family's giving you pressure, okay? Significant others giving you pressure. Pressure in general. What does that do to your awareness? Well, for a visual, if awareness is like this, it does this to your awareness. Your awareness is still there, but it's sleeping. It needs to be woken up. How do you do that? You get rid of the stress. You get rid of things like stress. You get rid of things like anxiety. You get rid of those things. And then what happens? Then awareness starts going like this. Starts opening up like that. Now you become more receptive. Now you're more aware. Now you can see the blinders come off. What happens when the stress comes back? You start to close like this. You start to close up like that. Okay? And then does stress come and go? Yeah, sure. When stress comes, awareness shrinks. When stress goes, awareness expands. So if certain entities, I'm talking about religion, I'm talking about government, I'm talking about corporations, people you have to work for, employers. Now your focus is the job. Now your focus is on the fear of God. Now your focus is on, okay, you get it. What happens to your awareness? Your connection to the divine, what happens? And I'm going like this because most people think everything is up. They even have an emoji that goes like this that means God. But God is in here. God is not up there. God is in here. Jesus Christ said the kingdom is within. So when you are being pressured, awareness goes like this. Awareness is your connection to the superconscious. The superconscious, you can apply your belief system there, okay? And then when you relax, awareness comes back. So guess what happens to my professionals? When they become more aware, okay, because they've been pressured since high school. They get pressured in high school, right, for college. Then they get pressured in college. Okay, let's say you go to high school, and let's say you're in private school, just for an example. And because the demands are heavy. Private school gives you a lot of homework, gives you a lot of pressure. So you're pressured now. Okay. You're probably pressured before that to get into that high school. And now you're being pressured through high school. And now at the end of high school, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to go to law school, or I'm going to go to medical school, or I'm going to go to engineering school, or I'm going to go whatever, right? Another high performance job, a high stress job. So now you get out of high school, you get right into college, more pressure. Okay, now you continue. It becomes a lifestyle. Now what happens, after 4 years of college? Master's degree, PhD, you keep going. I'm talking about high performance professionals. They keep going. Then they get into the workplace. Guess what they do? They keep going at that high rate of performance. The pressure never stops. The work never stops. what happens to their awareness? It's like this. Why? Because all of the extenuating pressures are relevant to their profession. All of the pressure is related to their work. They get 2 weeks a year. They get 2 weeks vacation. They go on vacations. They de-stress. They do. But if you are conditioned like this over a long period of time, the Bible talks about this. You look, but you cannot see. You hear, but you cannot listen. Why? Because your awareness has been like this. Because your awareness just kind of goes from here and it goes like this. And it stays like this. And guess what has power over that? The pressure. So if you want to keep somebody under your control, court system, you keep the pressure going. You apply the pressure. We can observe ourselves as human beings. Animals can't do that. They can't observe themselves. They only have that one experience where they look out like that. That one experience. So how do you wake up a human being? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. Vocalization is the fastest way, the human voice. If you think about Nikola Tesla, he talked about energy, frequency, and vibration to understand the universe. Because everything is made of energy, frequency, and vibration. One day, by accident, I started teaching at my voice school, which was my second company. I started teaching and I accidentally added velocity into the mix. Wind speed, air pressure, okay? And when I added velocity into the mix, over time, over like a couple of months, I saw the little kids start puffing their chest out like they were confident. And I'm like, wow, this is different. What's making them do this? And I wasn't aware at the time. I started teaching in 1989. This was 2007. So I had just been a regular voice teacher for all those years, from 89 to 2007. In 2007, I went down the rabbit hole, many rabbit holes, hundreds of hours of lectures, everything from quantum physics to string theory to personal development to frequencies, solfeggio frequencies, all of it, all of it. I immersed myself in all of those things. And we found the research. We found out why the voice makes you confident. Now, the voice will make you confident if you express tones at high pressure or high velocity or high rates of volume. And that's what we do with our clients. And the reason I'm telling you this is you can look on our website. We have the links we have all of the links. It's hereforyoulifecoaching.com. We have all of the links. It's called the science of confidence. This is not pseudoscience. This is solid science. This is biology. This is physiology, biology, because that's how we're made. It's physiology because it's about muscles. It's about your physical system. And it's also psychology, the way you think about the process, which is where I come in. So I don't teach anything involving music, except for the fact that some of my clients prefer to sing, so they use their voice for that. But what we say is when you find your voice, you find yourself. God spoke the world into existence in the Christian Bible. In the beginning was the Word. So the Word was spoken. So the human voice, at a high rate of pressure or strength, triggers oxytocin, endorphins, improves GABA levels, does all of these hormonal things through your neurotransmitters in your brain. And when these hormones start to flood your brain like that, guess what happens? Okay, we're not making any medical claims here, okay, just so that we don't get sued. All right, but this is what happens. Anxiety goes away. First it diminishes, then it starts to leave, right? Anxiety goes away. And then you experience an altered state of consciousness. Whoa, what's that, like mushrooms? No. It's just me, so I have to ask the questions too. No, it's not like that at all. We have a panting exercise that we do. And in that panting exercise, it's 2.5 minutes long. Right about the 1 minute point, the altered state of consciousness shifts. It starts to shift. And you feel it. So when I asked that doctor 2 weeks ago if he had felt this shift, and he's a psychiatrist, and he goes, yeah, I feel it, but I don't know what this is. And I was like, I know what it is. And I pointed him to the research on the website. But these are high-performance professionals. They do a lot of work, they see a lot of people, there's a lot of stress involved, and they make a lot of money, but there's a lot of work involved. You don't just go to medical school. You have to go through the steps. You have to go through the 12-step program first, right? 12-step program, senior in high school, and then you go to college. Then you go to medical school. Then you do your residency. Then you become a doctor. So the pressure is on in those instances, in those professions. So what happens with this altered state of consciousness? It opens your eyes so you can see things for what they really are. I can't even tell you how many. So how do you get out of the system? You don't have to get out of the system. You have to get out of prison. The prison is here. How do you get out of the prison? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. And vocalization will pull you out quick. The affirmations, the meditation, and the visualization will keep you out. The vocalization will pull you out. People always ask me, well, how long is this process? How long will it take? Sometimes 60 days. Depends. 1 hour cycles for 60 days. Sometimes 90 days. That being said, I have a girl that's with me, a professional. She's a nurse. Been with me for 4 years. That's a long time. My professionals come to me because it makes their work bearable. Because in an altered state of consciousness, you achieve flow state. And flow state is where everything just happens smoothly. Are you tired at the end of the day? Yeah, but it went smooth. Do you have to de-stress at the end of the day? Yeah. So you do your vocalization. But you have to do your affirmations as well. You have to do your meditation as well. You have to do your visualization as well. Every self-development platform that you see from Tony Robbins to Bob Proctor, God rest his soul, he's not here anymore. Dean Graziosi, the list goes on. It goes on and on and on and on. Dr. Joe Dispenza, it goes on and on. They're all talking about the subconscious. There is only the conscious, the subconscious, and the superconscious over here that is the divine, the creator of everything. I'm not here to tell you what to believe. I'm just saying, whatever you believe in, if you're religious or spiritual, or if you believe in Jesus Christ or Allah or whatever, we're just going to assign the superconscious label for that, okay? Now, these are states of awareness that exist in here. The kingdom is within. If you have a high-pressure job, your awareness begins to do this, and then it does this, and it stays like this until the stress goes away. So sometimes people use substances after work to relax. When they relax, does the awareness open up? Yeah, it does. It was like that. Okay? So your awareness can fear. What does it fear? It fears stress. All of that. Stress, anxiety, overthinking, all of that. And it starts to close up. And that's what Jesus meant when he said, you look, but you don't see. You listen, but you don't hear. Because you cannot. Because your consciousness has gone into retreat. And ironically, that's why they have retreats for professionals now, right? They have retreats. Everybody goes on a retreat. Why? So their awareness can expand again. And what do they do when awareness is expanded? After the retreat, they go right back into the job. Right back into the high stress, high performance job. Then what happens? Then it starts to close again like this. It starts to go like that. It doesn't go like this right away. This is, so let's do a time lapse visual. Okay? Stress, 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 more stress, problems, stress, more stress, and then it just stays like this. Less stress starts to come off, awareness starts to happen. Less stress, open. Now the blinders are off. And sometimes you get these moments of clarity. When the blinders come off and you can see things for what they really are. But the blinders go back. Why do they go back? Because now you go back to the calendar. Now you go back to the clock. Now you go back to the system. Now you go back to what I call the mouse wheel or the merry-go-round. I like to call it the mouse wheel. You ever see the mouse on the wheel? He's going nowhere. He's exerting a lot of energy, but he's going nowhere. He's on the mouse wheel. What's the mouse wheel? Well, in January we have New Year's, right? February we have Valentine's. March, St. Patty's Day, everybody's got to wear green, right? Then it's Halloween, then it's Thanksgiving, then it's Christmas. Then we all go shopping, we all spend money, we all exchange presents. And then it's January again. Wash, rinse, repeat. But you can be in the system and not of the system. You can be in the world and not of the world, because the kingdom is in here. You can attract everything into your life from in here. Everything. You can speak things into being. Whoa, really? Yeah. Just like God spoke the world into being, you are a co-creator with God. God lives in here. Speak it. Declare it. Demand it. Are you praying like a mouse? Pray like a lion. Start commanding. Because the impression that you give on infinite intelligence or the superconscious, okay, however you believe, that energy returns to you in kind. So if you're praying like a mouse, if you're pleading, what are you going to get? If you're begging, what are you going to get? You're going to get the same in return. Do we hold on to these moments of clarity? For a while, but we have to get back to the real world. That's what happens. Look at my temple. Because there's so many angles of light that shed clarity. Yes, there is. And if you're meditating regularly, you'll experience that. Awareness is where our attention goes. No, it's not, Costas. No, that's not true. You can have awareness without applying your attention to anything. You can just be. That was a beautiful comparison. Thank you. Thank you, Look at my temple. Thank you very much. Okay, so don't get it twisted, you guys. Don't get it twisted. Awareness is not directed at something. You are awareness. When you are just being, you're awareness. But when you're under pressure, things go like this. Okay, this is a visual representing awareness in defense mode. Okay, it's in hiding. It's protecting itself. It doesn't go away. You are awareness. We are all aware. The people that don't have a clue have been conditioned. That's all. They've been conditioned. If you get conditioned enough with fear, guess what happens? You get numb after a while. That's when damage happens. Share the live, you guys. Share the live, please. Thank you. That's when the damage happens, when you get conditioned. How do you break the conditioning? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. Affirmations. Where's my pen? Something happened to my pen. Here's my other pen. I normally have my favorite pen over there. I don't know where it went. So, affirmations. I am so happy and grateful now that I am confident. Why confidence? Because confidence is a relaxed, centered feeling within. Confidence. One of my students, I have this student. She just graduated high school. She's on her way to college. She was in an airport and she hit on this guy. And she is so mild-mannered. You would call her mild-mannered. She is so shy. Well, she was so shy. Then she started training with me. She actually, hit on this guy, say, hey, love your shirt, that kind of thing. Totally unexpected. I can tell you thousands of stories. The stories of people who have changed their lives through their voice are in this book. So this book is about motivational self-development through the human voice. It's called The Universal Law of Attraction and Singing. It's on Amazon. If you want it, because you're watching the live, just send me your email. It's junior@hereforyoulifecoaching.com, and I will send you a copy, a PDF copy, absolutely free. You don't have to buy the book. Okay. But I wrote this book quite some time ago. It's still selling. It's still selling. Why is this so important? So that you know that your voice can heal you, that your voice can make you confident, that God hears your voice because your voice registers into your subconscious. The subconscious communicates with the superconscious, or God. Why is that important? Because the program you have in your subconscious is going to keep feeding you the same thing. And that's why people get the same results, right? Because they have subconscious programming. It's not the conscious mind, it's below that. That's why it's called subconscious. The subconscious is directly connected to consciousness. So if we want to understand that in computer language, we could look at it like this, right? So there's the conscious, there's the subconscious, and there's the superconscious. So the conscious mind is the millions of thoughts you think a day, maybe 60,000 of them. Okay. Then there's the subconscious. The subconscious registers your predominant thoughts. When those thoughts get registered into your subconscious, or let's say memorized, they become programs. It forms your paradigm, or the way you see the world, or your attitude. That dictates your actions, and your actions give you results. Awareness is everywhere, but the way to make awareness into our consciousness. No, awareness is consciousness, Costas. Is where our attention goes to what we want. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. You're right about the second one. Yeah, you apply, whatever you apply your attention to is what you manifest, or what you bring into your world. I get it. Yep, thank you. Costas is teaching on that side, and I'm teaching over here. So, why is this knowledge important? Why are these things important to know? Because when you're not getting results, you need to know why. You need to know why. When you're getting the same results over and over and over, you need to know it's your subconscious. And you need to know you can change it, and you can start with one of these. It's not difficult. But you know what people have a problem with? They have a problem with remembering to do it every day. Because you need to be faithful. You need to have faith. I know a lot of religious people, and very few of them have true faith. Very few. They say they believe, they do all this stuff. But then their actions keep repeating because they don't change the subconscious. You say, oh, I believe in God. Yes, I love Jesus, love God, love Allah. Go to church every Sunday, right? In Matthew, Jesus says, pray in your closet. Now, the esoteric meaning does not mean go into a closet in your house and pray. That's not what it means. It means pray in here. Pray in here. You have to go into the kingdom to pray. That's the esoteric part about it. People that read the Bible verbatim have no idea what it means. They think they're reading a story. The Bible is a mystical book. When you ask, believing in the asking, you shall receive. Ask, believe, receive. Mark 11:24. What's it really talking about? Well, it's really talking about when you pray. Let's say you pray for something. Let's say you just ask, or you just pray. You're praying for something. You're praying for that new car. You're asking for that new car. But if in the kingdom you don't feel worthy of a new car, if in the kingdom you're thinking, well, nobody in my family ever bought a new car, If you're thinking, I should buy a good used car, you're not believing in the prayer. You're not believing in the intention. You're not believing in the wish. You're not believing in the asking. I know a lot of church people that are poor. And the way they pray is like a poor person. They're pleading, they're begging. When you're pleading, when you're begging, when you're asking God for it every single day, and you're praying with no certainty, and you're praying with no assertion, and you're praying with no authority. Remember, the kingdom is in here. God lives in here. If you're not reflecting that energy, you're not going to get anything. Why? Because pleading comes from lack. Begging comes from lack. Begging implies you don't have. If you're pleading, it implies that there's a lack over here. There's less than over here. You know how they make the church members wear the "He is greater than I"? They were wearing it on their shirts, for crying out loud. Do you know what that does to the human psyche? It creates less than. So, when you ask, you have to believe in your asking. You have to believe, first of all, that you're worth what you're praying for. You have to believe in what it is you're praying for. It's not about praying for a new car and then, okay, I'm going to convince myself, okay, praying for a new car, yes, I'm going to get a new car, yes, I'm going to get a new car, yes. Good luck on your new car. But now, if you ask and you believe in your asking and you take the steps towards your new car, how do you take the steps? Affirmation, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. When you pray, you have to affirm. You have to affirm. You have to own your prayer. If you pray like a beggar, you will not receive. I know a lot of church people go to church, empty wallets, no clients, no bank account, no house. Their car is run down. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, poverty consists of feeling poor. Are you feeling poor? Are you feeling sorry for yourself? Are you asking the Lord to have pity on you because abundance or lack? Is it abundance-based or lack-based? It's lack-based. Are you going to get your car? No. Why? Because you do not believe. You have to believe and have faith. You can't just say, okay, I'm going to do it, whatever. Not going to happen. You have to take the steps believing. In 2007, I did that. I took the steps. And I was scared. But I took the steps and I stayed close to God. And I asked God every step of the way. When I got to the new car dealer, right? Never bought a new car in my life. I didn't know what my credit score was. I had no idea. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. Hello, Zai. Is that how you say your name, Zai? Thank you so much. I had no idea, right? And I drove onto the new car lot and I went in and the guy said, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "Would you like to take a look at cars?" I said, "Yes, please." And inside I was going, is this the right thing to do, Lord? Is this the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? And I got the feeling, yes. I was listening to intuitive higher intelligence. Intuition comes from your right brain, the right hemisphere of your brain. That's what we call the superconscious. Although if you talk to a medical doctor, he'll say, well, there's really only the conscious and subconscious. They'll tell you that. But the superconscious is God. So it's a spiritual classification. So I checked in every step. By the way, the guy said, you want to, he took me out in the back for some reason and showed me the used cars. If I would have been cocky, if I would have said, I'm not here for used cars, I want to see a new car. If I was like that, it would have blown the whole deal. It would have blown the whole thing. So I looked around. I was patient. I checked in. I was checking in with God the whole time. I was asking internally. I was asking. Ask, believe, receive. I was asking questions. I was believing in my asking that I would whatever. It's consciousness. It's subconscious. Whatever you call what's in here. You want to call this a spirit, you want to call this soul, energy, it's all of that. But that energy is what I'm talking about. And so the guy said, do you see anything you like? And I checked in. I said, what should I say? And the answer was no. So I said no. He said, would you like to take a look at new cars? And I stopped for a second and I checked in. Okay, we're going. I said, yes. And we went and looked at new cars. Okay, long story short, the whole process happens. The hurry up and wait game at the car dealer, that thing. And it took like 5 hours. And then the guy comes out and he goes, Bank of Hawaii took your loan, congratulations. And I was like, what? Because I was conditioned as a child. I was conditioned to only buy a good used car. Only a good used car. Why? Well, it's the same reason they always tell you. When you drive it off the lot, it automatically depreciates X number of dollars. That's a fear-based tactic. What about when you buy the good used car and it only lasts for a couple of years and then it starts rebuilding itself? New water pump, new radiator, right? New starter, right? From 2007 till now, the only thing I know is I always have new car smell. Like always, I go in my car right now and I go, it still smells new because I leased him now, right? So it's a 3-year lease. I'm not flexing. I'm here to say you can do it too. You have to put the fear aside. If I was afraid to drive in there because, well, I don't have that kind of money, and this was a $58,000 sports car on signature in 2007. And guess what happened after that? Clients came to support it. Money came to support it. Now, it doesn't matter where money comes from. It could be a tax refund. It could be a gift. It could be anything, a variety of sources. It could be clients. It could be your job. It could be overtime. It could be anything. If you're paying attention to where things are coming from and how they're coming and keeping an accounting of every little penny, guess what? Are you living in abundance or lack? You're living in lack. You will not receive as much as you could if you were in an abundance mindset. And that's what I teach, mindset. That's why this is called mindset. This is mindset coaching. Oh, Xavier, like Xavier. Sorry about that, man. But you have to get over the fear. Fear-based ideologies have no place with God or universe, however you want to say that, superconscious. It has nothing to do with it at all. Why are you afraid? In the Bible, Jesus said, "O ye of little faith," which is the majority of people. The majority of people. Confidence going on. Like I had all these little kids in my school. They're puffing out their chests when they're singing. They're doing all these unusual things. And I saw miracles. And I wrote about it in my book. If you want to copy the book, I'll send it to you. This is about the changes that people experienced in their lives as a result of their voice, developing their voice. Because your voice involves frequency. Energy, frequency, and vibration. Now, when you push it out really hard, it fires the neurotransmitters. Now you have a hormonal reaction. Now you have oxytocin, endorphins, GABA levels increase. Your fight or flight response goes down. No worries, we're here every day, same time. We do lives every day, man. Yep, we're here at 7 a.m. Hawaii time. Costas, don't tell anyone what you want until you make it come true. That's not true. That's nobody has authority over you, Costas. Nobody has authority over anyone's manifestation or goal accomplishments. So that's not true at all. So to get over fear, what is fear? Hesitation is rooted in fear. All the negative emotions are rooted in fear. You know, when you're avoiding something, when you're hesitating, when you're, it makes you uncomfortable, there's fear involved. I can't tell you how many human beings I've pulled out of fear and fear-based thoughts. Fear-based thoughts. Fear-based thoughts counter-manifest goodness. So in your subconscious, if you have an obstacle, you need to identify what it is. Then you have to trace the origin of it, the memory of it. Where did it happen? Then when you identify when it first occurred, because you'll remember, you think you don't have a bad memory. Your subconscious remembers everything. You have to trace it back to its origin. Then you replace that belief with a new one. That's how you replace it. Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. The clients that I have that do all four succeed. You cannot not fail. I mean, you cannot not succeed. There's no way that you can not succeed because you're applying everything to that one thing. You're applying your entire senses, all of your senses. Your subconscious is a culmination of all of your senses. You're applying everything to one thing. It will happen. And then you go to the next thing. So you make a list. You knock off your goals one by one by one by one. I didn't start 5 companies all at once. I started with one production company, then a voice school. Then the production company, we turned it into VMAC Consultants. Look us up, it's a thing. Then there was AFM Hawaii Music. We started with Emo Records. And then it was AFM Hawaii. We turned that into AFM Hawaii Music. Then we changed the singing school into a vocal development. So everything evolves. Businesses evolve, people evolve, everything evolves. Animals evolve. I was telling Jay about my horse, and my horse evolved from a raggedy pasture horse to a multi-champion. And I showed her the pictures. You can have, do, or be anything that you have the courage to do. How do you build courage? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. And Jay is telling me, see you tomorrow. Thank you, Jay. It's something I want, don't have in abundance. It should be like have it already. Yeah. Wait, if it's something I don't want to have in abundance, it should be like I have it. Yeah, I think there's a mistranslation thing, Costas, but I think you have it. I think you have it. Okay, so we're actually originating in Honolulu, Hawaii. So we're going to cut the feed on Streamlabs. We're on 7 different platforms every morning. So we'd like to wish you a fond aloha from Hawaii. Lots of love to you folks. And the website, I'm not here to sell you anything, by the way. This is my community service. But the website is hereforyoulifecoaching.com. If you're a professional and you really need some help, or you're someone who is not making progress, I can help you. But I'm not here to sell anything, so no sales pitch. Okay, we'll see you guys tomorrow at 7 a.m. for more free help.